Alright, today we're going to dive right into this. Corsair sent us an S128 SSD, but the first question we have to answer is, why do we need an SSD? And the answer is pretty simple. Have you ever lost data from a traditional hard drive? They're simply not as reliable as something with no moving parts. Also with an SSD, you do get faster speeds and you get lower power consumption and less heat while you're at it. So let's get into it. While the S128 is Corsair's first foray into the SSD market, Corsair has been producing high quality and high reliability memory products for many years now, so it shouldn't surprise us at all to see this. Now, Corsair's main focus on this drive is going to be reliability. It uses a Samsung controller, a regular 2.5-inch hard drive form factor. That means you can use it in a desktop or in a laptop, and it does use a SATA 2 interface. Now, Corsair isn't really marketing their SSD as a performance leader. Their focus is more on reliability. However, the performance of this drive was much better than what it's spec'd for. It's only spec'd for 90 megs per second read, but we got up to 158 megs per second out of our drive. So you can see also that the 70 megabytes per second writes are very consistent compared to a more traditional hard drive. Now, in terms of general usage, that was more of the focus of the benchmarks that I ran. We saw a 25% improvement in unzipping a large 6 gig file. We saw up to double, or well, half the time to open annoying programs like Photoshop and Office that take forever to load. And we observed no hitching or freezing. That's been one of the big concerns out there about MLC solid-state drives that are using the J-Micron controller. However, Corsair is using an OEM-grade Samsung controller in their drive that eliminates that problem in our observation. Also, in Windows Vista, the performance of small annoyances like UAC was much improved. Normally, you wait forever for that dialog to pop up. With an SSD, it's almost instant. Performance is all fine and good, but one of the less glamorous aspects of the SSD technology is that it will allow us to be more mobile more easily. It's lighter, consumes less power, takes up less space, it's cooler, and it's quieter. These are all things that are a huge benefit in laptops and desktops. So that's a really important aspect of this technology as well. Cameraman was complaining there's not really a whole lot to demonstrate on a hard drive, so I thought, okay, how about we make a pile of keyboards to spice up the conclusion? So there we go. Here's what to shop for when you're looking for an SSD. The first thing on everyone's mind with SSDs is obviously going to be the price. They are quite a bit more expensive than their magnetic counterparts. However, that is going to change very soon. The capacity is another big thing. You want something usable. Something like a 16 gig SSD is not even going to hold a proper Windows installation if you're using Vista. So you need capacity, you need price, but you also got to look at the components that are being used. Corsair is using a Samsung OEM qualified controller as opposed to some of the other drives out there that are using controllers that cause stuttering and hitching when you're trying to access your data, which gets rid of the benefit really of a fast SSD drive. Now, the other thing that you do want to look at in terms of reliability is the mean time between failure. This Corsair drive is actually rated for 100 years mean time between failure. However, it does carry a 2-year warranty. So, last thing, spec, the performance. Now, we showed today the spec is not all that necessarily telling about the drive because this is rated for only 90 megabytes per second, but it performs at over 150 megabytes per second for reads. So bear that in mind, read reviews, shop around, and thank you for watching NCIX Tech Tips.